couldn't get it done, so we can't wallow in it. We got to get ready for an Illinois game. Illinois obviously was probably the worst beating that we took, where we were really out of the game. At halftime, we were down, and really they got us good. And we sort of one of those things with 10 minutes to go that you didn't feel like you had a chance to win, because there was 17, 18 points, where I don't think that was the UCLA situation, that wasn't the USC situation, or any other game that we've lost. So hopefully we are going to be better against them. And but they have weapons, and they've been up and down like we've been up and down, and played really well sometimes, and we got to make sure that doesn't happen this time. So.
Sorry. With Derek, what's his status? Is he all right, and will he play well?
Yeah, he seemed to be all right. He practiced a little bit yesterday, but we expect him to go full go today.
And then with Mark, not to pick on him, but a few times at the free throw line, he's let some rebounds back.
Yeah.
What do you do about that? How do you coach that?
You know, they say a similar situation happened in the Iowa game, up 7. There are pivotal points in the game. You hate to look at, okay, this is important, but these are things that we can control some of the time. Sometimes the ball's just going to bounce odd and you do everything. But they basically pulled the chair on him twice, and you have to have a different balance on your box out to do that. And he made a mistake. We're trying to correct it.
Coach, have you seen a different response to the Wisconsin loss than the other ones in the past, given who's coming up this weekend? And
no, I thought yesterday's practice was very good. Our kids got after it. But we're bothered by every loss. I don't think when one bothers us less or more. I think that they knew they were right there with a really good team, and that they know that there's 10 or 11 things that are a little bit self-defeating to us. You know, when we just lose that minute of focus of where's Koenig right now? Where is he on the floor, right? Or, you know, when we have a scouting report of something, they see it. Or, you know, the couple of hand checks we had to start the second half. I mean, those were good calls, but we did things that you just don't go and reach and grab at somebody when you have no chance of getting it. You get yourself in foul trouble. So we can control some of those things, and that's what hurts.
Okay.
John, do you feel like your team has something to prove in this game? Obviously, following the Illinois game where they made the remarks about the white collar.
Well, yeah, I'll leave that alone from now on. We got something. We got beat bad at their place. They basically, you know, opened a can of whooping on us, and we cannot. You know, let's see how we respond to it. But that is the one game. If you watched us all year, we've competed, you know, right to the end with every single game, except that one day we just took it away from us, and Coleman got hot, and Malcolm Hill was good, and the big men just shot the heck out of it. And if that happens again, we'll be having the same press conference. So we got to be better defensively, and then really do a good job with our offense.
And then this morning on the radio, you talked about your dad. You know, he was working paper mill white collar. So
Yeah.
did you necessarily didn't take that as a slight when you first heard it?
No, there's white collar people all over the world. I don't get that part. White collar people are tough and they work hard. I don't get it. It's just somebody probably blew that up the wrong way. You know what I mean? It's all right to be a white collar kid, and it's all right to work really hard, and it's all right to be a blue collar kid and work very hard. We all have, you know, people that do that. I don't think there's an association between trustness or not, whether you're white collar or blue collar or whatever.
Mark?
Well, I guess just right off that, but the implication, you know the implication that he was making was obviously.
If that was,
that you guys were
I
soft.
don't understand that implication, but
Okay.
yeah, no, well, we've talked about that, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's a perception. Until we change that perception by playing with more edge, that perception will continue.
You said 10 or 11 things that you have a list for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is 10 or 11 the normal thing at the middle of January with teams?
Oh, yeah, I mean, every game that you lose, a coach is gonna be able to go over videotape and find 25 things that you could do better. You know what I mean? But there's 10 or 11 things that just stood out in this game,
Okay, just that
especially,
game, not-
in this particular game, that really stood out, that were really, can you box out on a free throw? Can you, when you're in help defense, is your guy a shooter or not? Are you gonna leave him or are you not gonna leave him? These are things that we can control, and we did, but it's pretty normal to have things, but a guy stood in and taken a charge. That's a little bit different, because some guys are not, they just don't do it, they just don't do it. You know, every team doesn't have 5 guys that take charges, we don't have many. The charge isn't as big a thing as it used to be, because of the big circle, it's hard to get in there. But I showed them direct things down the stretch, how when Zach drove to the basket late, and he drove, he thought he was fouled, but he drove, and there was 3 Wisconsin Badgers there. And when Koenig drove Duncan Robinson, there was nobody there. Everybody was guarding their own man. Stuff that we can control, we know better of, but we just froze.
Are they the same 10 or 11 every game?
Some of them are very similar. Some of them are very, very, very similar.
Does that bother you?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we have to get better at it. And then there's just, you can't, you try to do things, whether you're running a lane, whether you're just talking on defense. And some of it is tape delay stuff that is really hard to change.
Andrew?
You talked about the Illinois big men hitting some shots. I guess coming into a rematch now, will there be different responsibilities told to players defensively, or are there certain things that you just say, that probably won't happen again?
No, with both Black and Maverick Mormon, we knew Finke could really shoot. But there had been, that they were good shooters. They were great shooters that day. And that we have to make sure that we contest their shots better by getting there earlier, being there stronger. I think we had just coming off a game with, was it Iowa before that, or just similar to that, or maybe it was Penn State, where guys, their 4 and their 5 were not shooters. And all of a sudden, those 4 and 5 shot the heck out of it against us. So we went, we challenged, and once we changed, I think our defense got better, but it was too late by then.
John?
What do you take out of the Wisconsin film and say to these guys, if you do these things, you're going to be
We say it
pretty
every
good?
day. I mean, we started, if we play defense, you can compete for championships, if we really do it, and we're trying, and believe me, now, there's not one kid walking out of there saying, I ain't playing defense today. He just doesn't know what it takes yet, and he's trying, but he doesn't realize something, that there'll be these spasms where somebody really doesn't realize this extra effort here. There's nothing schematic going on, it is guard your yard, get your man in a hurry, he's your man, you see in front of us, that's what it is, and there's just this little delay. So when we do that, we can be good.
But in terms of being up by 6 with just a few minutes to
Yeah.
play, what do you pull off of there and say, you did these things right to be in this
So
position?
we showed them a lot of really good things. I thought we battled in the post really well, because, if you don't play half that way, the single coverage, if he's not an elite passer. So we just single coveraged on him inside, and didn't help at all. And Mo did a great job on him, making it difficult for him to, get easy points. Nigel Hayes, we had great moments with him, and then we had other moments where he dominated us. So it's, we got to, there's moments in that game that were really good for us to gain confidence in, and the fact that we could score baskets on them as well. The second half we scored 40-some points. That's really good. If you were with us earlier in the first year here, we didn't score 40 points in one game against them. So there's some good things there, but none of that stuff makes any difference until we beat teams like that.
Nick?
John, I wonder where the line is with an older guy making a recurring mistake, like you said, the free throw box outs. I noticed you pulled
Yeah.
Mark out of the game, you put a freshman in,
Yeah.
and that was a close game
Yeah.
with Zach driving into a crowd of people.
Yep.
At what point do you say to some of the older guys, like, if you're gonna keep doing this, you're not playing?
I think time will tell at this point, that the frustration is there with whether it's with the players themselves, with me, and whatever, that those common mistakes. That's not the first time that we've had a guy it's a pretty simple assignment. So, yeah, I mean, there'll be a point at some point where we just gotta say, okay, this is, we gotta do something extra. We need right now with the team, we need an outlier of some type, or we need a spark somewhere. And so, I don't know where it's gonna come from, that's the issue, but hopefully, every year that we've had good teams, something happened at this time, that the guy came forward and really played well, and just helped, just that one spark. Because we're talking about, this is the exception of Illinois game, every game could be ours, and we have to somehow just find that little bit of a spark.
Is there anybody that you think is close to giving you that right now, that hasn't done it yet?
Nope, and I hope I'm seeing it every single day. There's been flashes of some guys, but I don't wanna go and put it on anybody just yet. I think time will tell whether we should have ever entertained the red shirt with Austin Davis. He's really played well in practice. I mean, really well. And but we'll just have to hoping that someone comes forward.
Brett?
We've talked before about guys that score off the residual stuff and guys that you dial,
Yeah.
dial things up for. With DJ, who's averaging 16 in
Yeah.
play, and then going scoreless in
Yeah.
that game, what was it that they were able to kind of isolate out of him? And he missed some open shots, but
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of times he just wasn't.
Yeah,
really
I think he had one guarded three, took two open ones. Yeah, it was, there's some things with him that we just gotta call his number more, or call the action go more to him. And for whatever reason, we did not do it in that game. And he's gotta find ways. When he's had the good 16-point games, we didn't dial up stuff. He got rebounds, almost impossible to get offensive rebounds against Wisconsin. They're the best in the country at it. When you get your limited shots, you gotta make them. He didn't. But we probably could have posted them up a little bit more. They guard a post-up offense all day, every day when they guard each other. And that's still a growing area with DJ. So I wish we could have gotten some more shots. We didn't.
The shots you got down the stretch with Mo were wide open looks.
Yeah.
Were you pleased with those looks?
You know, he was 8 for 16
Mhm.
from three going in the last 4 games, going into that game, 8 for 16. That's many times the guy you can get open. It's the exact same calls that we had against Nebraska. Only in the Nebraska game, he wasn't as open, and he didn't make them. And that was a big turning point in that game. Not the reason we lost the game, but Koenig made his 2. One was a tougher shot, and Mo missed those, and then we missed the 1-and-1, and then we turned it over. It was a bad, 3 minutes there. All of a sudden, we're down by 9. And a guy like Nigel Hayes, who was not shot the ball well all year, has a ball hit every part of the basket and go in. That's where we're snake bitten. We've made our own messes here at times. At the same time, there's been some times where some crazy stuff has happened in games.
Zach?
How much do you work with Zach, now that he's a senior and the ball's gonna go through him a lot, how much do you work with him on decision-making and shot selection, making sure that he's going for higher percentage shots, and then what have you made of his last 2 games?
We realize that, it's a good question, we realize that when we do like today at 2:30, our young guys will go through an extra workout. And we realize that Zach and Derek, because we're worried about player load on them, do not get those extra sessions. So we started, yesterday we had an extra session, last week we had an extra session in the middle of practice for those 2 to make good decisions, to read what they have on. You have your obvious times in practice, but it's not where we will tell the managers, or we will tell the scout team, play it this way, let's see if he can make the read. Don't guard him, see if he knows to shoot it, right? Guard him and help off this guy, see if he can see the big guy. We do that with Ibby and X and Charles like every day almost. And we don't do it with those guys because, like I said, they don't have the volume on their legs. So yes, and now, if you followed our schedule, those 6 games the good news was we had 4 days for Christmas. The bad news was that bye put us into only 2 really days that we could actually focus on ourselves. Of those 18 days we had where we were practicing with the games, we were really into just the next game. So we have some schedule, some breaks in our schedule right now. We get back to just getting better. Okay?
John, you have 4 of the next 5 at home. How critical is the stretch to gain ground in the Big Ten?
Well, as I said, you have little chance in being successful in this league if you don't win at home. So that says a lot. And the teams that we have coming in here are all quality teams, are really good teams, and this is the way the league's going to be this year. I don't think it will ever change, actually. I think as you look at the makeup of this league, when I came in with 11 teams, there were like 5 or 6 programs that were sort of broken. They were trying to figure themselves out. And right now, like I said, with 14 teams, Rutgers is getting fixed. You can see the scores. So there's 14 teams that are like really in good shape. They're really in good shape, not 7 or 8. And so everybody's going to, you saw the 2 road wins the other night. I mean, both last second, we had 3 road wins in a row with Maryland winning last night, 3 in a row that were like really like great basketball games. So it's, you got to win it. You have to win at home because the road is tough, but it doesn't mean we can't go on the road and win as well.
Okay. John, we've talked a lot about where the guys are at, their temperament and everything else. I'm wondering where you're at overall. You guys have had close games, but
Yeah.
these are games you guys won 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm wondering where you're at right now with your, how you are.
It is frustrating, it can be frustrating at times, but you just gotta know when you've coached this long, you just know that things will turn. You just need something to turn, and if you just cannot step back and just, dwell on that, you gotta move forward, and you gotta move forward with the next practice. So I do know that, knowing we are really trying to emphasize as much as we can, late game decisions. When we played a 4-minute game yesterday, then we played another 4-minute game of what is happening at winning time. I think that's something that is, knowing that, like, for example, Mo and DJ have not been in many winning time games in the past, and now they are. And how important those times are offensively and defensively, so that they can grow. The same thing that the Zach Novaks and guys like that went through in times, they learned. These guys have not had that. So, and if they got bench guys doing the same thing, I think Derek and Zach know what they're doing right there. And Mohammed and Duncan, but we just haven't been able to get the stops. We know what we're doing offensively, we haven't been able to get the stops.
Do you think this team is like one Stu Douglas 3 away from turning the corner here? Do you get the sense on that, or is it more?
I can't say that. I know if we had one player step up right now and play as an outlier, whether he's a really good player who all of a sudden goes bonkers, right, and just becomes a 50% three-point shooter, getting to the baskets, all these things, or one guy that's off the bench. One player right now would change a lot of those situations right now that we've been in. Just one guy that could really help us. So somewhere on that team, we gotta find and help make that happen.
Is that something you like present to the group?
Today,
Say, like, who's
today, and I've done it before. I remember before the championship game, a few years ago, I told, there's somebody in this room that is gonna be an outlier in this game. And Spike probably said, I don't know who he's talking to, I know it ain't me. And then there's just, I do it a couple times a year, that there's something happening, there's something we're just waiting for, and it's yours to take, and I believe strongly in that, can just change the season.
We'll close with Jake.
Coach, you talked last week about the players-only meeting with Derek, how that being a turning point. How about in the past few days? Have you seen any change from Derek or Zach or anyone comparable to that kind of?
They're pretty consistent when they're with me in the crowd, but I think what happens in those player-only meetings that every media guy loves and every team talks about, there's stuff said that is not, they don't talk about it anymore, but they feel it. They hear from their teammates. They know some things that maybe their teammates want them to do at the same time, or they can come to coaches as well, saying, you know what, coach, why don't we do this? Why don't we play this guy more? Or, coach, give this guy more confidence. He's real, those things, there's good things that happen from it. And so, but this is not the type of team that will do that where I can see it as much.
Coach,
Thanks.
Thanks.